going to tell you my wedding regrets. Seriously, it was a waste. Is that controversial? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing another wedding related video for you guys today, and today I hope you guys liked my timeline one that I did last week, and I hope that helped you out. But this week I'm going to tell you my wedding regrets and also just some general wedding advice and things, tips that I learned along the way when we were planning and then obviously going through with the day. I have got my little list on my phone. I also spoke to my husband about this too to see if he had any thoughts as well about what we regretted or like anything that he was like, I'm so glad that we did that. So I'm gonna get straight into this now. Here's a couple photos of our wedding. It was literally magical. This list was honestly really hard to compile because we loved so much, apart from a few things I'm going to tell you in a second. Let's get into our regret. So our first regret, and yeah, seriously regret doing this, is the wedding favors or bombonere. Basically, it's like a little gift that you're supposed to give to everyone. It was we didn't want to go too crazy, and we just got these little beautiful chocolates, and then we even like DIY'd like wrapping of the chocolate, and it said like Mariah and John, and it had the date and everything on it, and they were like little chocolate bars essentially with our wrapping on it that we did ourselves. We designed, printed and stuck them on ourselves, like undoing the original wrappers and putting ours on, and we literally, no one even took one, and then we had like so many of them left over, and it's just like, it was a waste. Seriously, it was a waste. And I just think this might be like controversial, but I'm already paying for you to be here. Why do I need to give you a gift? Is that controversial? Don't come for me, but seriously, I'm already paying for you. I don't need to get you a gift. Like, I want you a part of my day, and I think it's beautiful, but I think it's just a tradition that has been passed down, and then like, I get it. Like, I love the sentiment of like giving a little gift, a little memento to like remember the day, but it's like, it's just gonna get chucked out, and we spent a lot of time doing it, but it's just something that I regret doing, and I honestly wouldn't do it. The guests didn't even notice when they didn't get one. Like, they all still had a very great time with the way we organized it anyway, so I just don't think it was needed at all. My second regret is our wedding cake. I was so indecisive about if we should have a cake or not, because I don't really like cake. Like, I'm not a very big cake person, and the only reason why we got the cake was pretty much for the photos of us cutting a cake, and everyone was telling me like, you have to have a cake, it's a wedding. And all I wanted was like the dessert that my venue was providing us. Like, I was like, oh my, they were making like sticky date pudding, and I was like, that's like one of my favorite desserts. And then everyone's thoughts got into my head, and I ended up getting a cake that was, I want to think now, it was probably like $300 to $400 for the cake. And I just, like, it was a beautiful cake, don't get me wrong, like it was stunning, and it tasted really good and everything as well. I just like, what was the point? And if it's for the photo, you can like get a foam cake and just put like a big foam block and put icing around it and cut through it if that's what you want. But I was like, we have beautiful photos, and like, I don't look at the cake photos and be like, oh, so glad we got a cake so we could take cake photos. Like, all of our other, like, our photos are beautiful. Like, yeah, I just kind of wish everyone, we got the desserts of the venue. Basically, I just regret getting a cake because I don't even like cakes. Another one that I regret is we had the beautiful pajamas that we had in for the morning of, for me, my sister and my mum. We had the cute matching PJs, all sorts. When we arrived to the venue, we weren't wearing the pajamas, and I wanted to wear them to the venue, but my mum and my sister were like, no, you don't want to get them dirty in case blah 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 blah. But literally, as soon as we got to the venue, we had to change into the pajamas straight away because the hair and makeup people wanted to get started ASAP, and I was like stressed because I had to go and get changed and drop down all the shit and all that, and I was like, seriously, we should have rocked up in the pajamas because that would have saved me. So if you're getting the pajamas, just rock up to the venue in them. Seriously, I don't know why I didn't. My next regret, this is my final regret, it was doing the seating sign way too early. So in my head, I had, once everyone sort of RSVP'd, that's when I started working on the seating chart after I'd worked out who was gonna sit where. And we started doing it, and we used the Cricut, so we DIY'd it. So we were using like vinyl to stick everyone's names on, etc. The people that RSVP, a lot of those people down the line end up not coming. So things come up, and yeah, we had literally people pulling out the night before the wedding, And of course at that stage there's nothing like I could do, but we did have people dropping off along the way as well. I had already done the seating chart like sign and everything at that point with all of the names, and so I would have to literally pick off the letters on our seating sign, reprint it, and then stick it back on. And honestly, I think we did this like 3 times, and like it'd be like at the bottom or like a little side name, and then we have to move everyone up. It was just like the amount of times we had to redo it, I was just like over it. And so my regret is not like just putting it off until later. So they were my regrets. See, there's not that many. Like I was pretty happy overall with how the wedding went. There was just like a few little things that I would change, but now I'm gonna get into my advice for you. So firstly, we were thinking of, like, this is on topic of MCs. So we were at the start thinking of having a family member be our MC for the night and sort of help run the reception. And when we had our celebrant meeting, she was kind of talking to us if we had any MCs, etc, etc, and she actually mentioned that she was an MC too. So her name was Danielle, and she was our celebrant, but she also was our MC on the night. And we were umming and ahhing about like, oh, should we have an MC? Should we just have like a family member do it? Like, it's really not that hard, blah, 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 blah. And then we decided, we were like, we don't want to have the pressure on that family member to sort of run through it. We want them to enjoy the night too. And secondly, like, it probably is a bigger deal than you think running that reception, like especially the first part with all the speeches and, you know, the entrances and all of that. It was well worth the investment to have the MC on the night so that our family can just enjoy it. Yeah, I couldn't imagine not having an MC, because otherwise it would have been really, really hard. It was worth the investment. And that being said too, is like, I really, really, really recommend like researching and looking into getting a really great celebrant, because they actually do way more than you think. There's lots of planning behind the scenes for them and how they set up your ceremony, and if you have them MC your reception as well. Yeah, it was so worth the money to have that little bit extra, to have a really great celebrant so that everything just flowed. Speeches, so we ended up having, I think it was like 6 speeches, but it didn't feel like a lot because we had it spread out throughout the night. Like we had some as soon as we sat down, we had some after our entree, and then we had some after our dinner, like around that. So we ended up doing like 2 at a time, 2 speeches at a time. And I wouldn't do anything more than 2 speeches at a time. 3 would be absolutely pushing it because people start to, you know, fade out with that, but definitely 2 at a time was perfect for us. You know, we did have a big amount of people doing speeches, so we just wanted to spread it out evenly, and I think we did a really, really good job at that. I highly recommend doing reveals. I didn't do one with my husband because I wanted the moment of walking down the aisle, but I did do reveals with my dad and my brother, and also my grandparent, and then John did it with his whole family. And it was something that we, like, one of the best memories to look back on is seeing their reactions to me or seeing their reactions to John. So if you're thinking and you're on the edge of doing reveals, do them. My next one, this one was actually put in by John. So basically he said during like the ceremony vows, he recommends like holding hands. So when he was doing his vows, I was holding onto his hands because I could tell he's quite nervous, like speaking. He was just really nervous. And when I went to do my vows, I was feeling good. I was feeling really confident. I wasn't nervous at all. So I took the mic and I was just like talking to him like this. And he said one of the most awkward things for him was like, he was just like standing there with his hands like by his side, just staring at me, and he just felt awkward. So he kind of wished that he was holding my hands, but I was like doing my own thing and I didn't need that. So he just said, hold hands no matter if you're feeling good or not. One of the best advice is actually, I got this from my celebrant, was to buy the groom 2 shirts, the same 2 exact shirts, one for the ceremony and one for the reception. This was the best advice ever, because after the ceremony, John was sweating, like from the morning to the ceremony, he was sweating just from like nerves, excitement, a hot day, all that. And then he was able to change into his next shirt, and it was like fresh, clean, and good for more photos and things like that. So I would highly, 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 highly suggest getting your groom to buy 2 shirts. Another thing that I did, I'm a very big cocktail drinker. and I knew I wasn't going to use the bar for just like, you know, spirits and stuff like that. I just don't drink like that. I'm a very big cocktail girly, and we actually did one cocktail round for everyone, all the guests on the night, which was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then I had it sorted with the bar that only the bridal party, which was me and my sister. I knew John and his best man weren't going to have cocktails, but me and my sister, and I also had my mum in on it too, we were the only ones that were allowed to buy cocktails for the rest of the night. So I knew budget wise, thinking that cocktails are obviously a lot dearer than that. So budget wise, it would have been very, very expensive for us to keep cocktails running throughout the night. But it was my wedding and I wanted to have cocktails. So I had it arranged that only me and like my bridal party were allowed to have cocktails through the rest of the night. My next tip is to, when we booked the Millennium Manor, which was our venue, it came with the on the day coordinator, and that was probably the best thing we could have, just keeping the day running smooth. They were so on top of everything. If you're doing like your venue yourself, I would recommend an on the day coordinator, just so that you don't have to be the one that's making sure everything's running on time and things like that. So having the on the day coordinator for us was really everything. It was really, really helpful. I've got 3 more little tips for you. They're very easy. So first one is, who you invite is how the night will go down. So what I mean by this is, if you're inviting mostly family, which just say older people, grandparents, aunts and all that, typically they're not the people to be like on the dance floor breaking a move until like 11 p.m. at night or past that. So be mindful, if that is majority who you're inviting, that's going to depict how your night goes, like dance wise, fun wise. If you're inviting like your closest friends who are like really fun, outgoing, dancing all the time, that's how your night's gonna go. I hope that makes sense. So I sort of had a balance between friends and family. I had a lot more family than I did friends, because ours was quite an intimate wedding, and like it was mainly just me and my friends on the dance floor the whole night. So just something to keep in mind depending on how you want your night to feel. And then my last 2 is, I kind of touched on this before, but people will drop out no matter if they RSVP'd or not. My advice, I've said this in my last video, I just wanted to say, go with the flow with your guests. Don't try and get like all caught up. It is what it is. If you've already paid for it, just go with the flow, let it happen, and don't let yourself stress about the people that are not coming. It's still going to be an amazing day. There'll be more food for people, so just sort of let it go. And my lucky last one is, if you can stay at the venue the night of the wedding, absolutely do it. It's worth the cost. Ours was like involved in our cost, like we didn't have to pay more to stay the night, but we were able to stay the night literally at the venue. So after we were dancing and everything, I literally went upstairs and went to bed. So it was just so much easier than getting in a car and going somewhere else. Yeah, if you can stay the night at wherever you're getting married, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That brings me to the end of the video. I hope some of my regrets and some of my tips can help you guys plan your best wedding. I hope you have a beautiful wedding day. I'm sure it'll be amazing. Like, as long as you plan everything to as much detail as possible, your wedding will flow perfectly. Let me know if you have any questions at all. If you have anything you want to get some advice on, please pop them down in the comments. I am more than happy to answer them, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.